Hi all, good morning. Today I'm going to explain about what is an API, how we can test one endpoint, and we will see two HTTP methods in API. One is GET, next one is a POST. In this session, I'm going to talk about how we can test an API. In terms of testing point of view, I'm trying to explain here. So first of all, API stands for Application Programming Interface. This is the interface between the two softwares. Let's say we have one application, the most widely used application. Let's take Make My Trip. Okay, in the Make My Trip, right? You have one request. So if you want to, let's say you want to book a one flight ticket from Vizag to Hyderabad. Let's say if you want to book one flight ticket from Vizag VSKP to SSC Secunderabad. So this is your request. So you will get a lot of responses with the different agencies. Let's say you get a lot of responses. One from Air India, Air India flight, and the other one you may get from Indigo. Like some X and some Y. So let's assume you got 4 responses. So how you are getting the information from Air India, how you are getting from Indigo or X or Y Jet. So you are getting 3 who are providing the service from Visakhapatnam to Secunderabad. So you are searching for a Make My Trip, and that is providing you for what are the available sources you can travel from Visakhapatnam to Secunderabad. So this application may develop in a different language, let's say Java. Okay, and these applications may develop in Python or .NET Core, .NET. So, but in middle of this, so we have API sits in middle of these API sits. Okay, in middle of we have APIs. So this API, when Make My Trip, sends a request, send the request to Air India and Indigo and X and Y Jet. So these are all providers will respond to the Make My Trip request, and they will send the response, right? So in this way, this API is application programming interface. This is the interface between the two softwares. Make My Trip is one application, and the list of providers is a different application, right? So between these two applications, API sits and it will talk to it will send the request to Air India, it will send the request to Indigo, and it will send the request to all the service providers, and it will take the response and it will give it back to the Make My Trip. So that is the reason API communicates between the two softwares. That softwares may develop in different languages or the same language, whatever it may be, but it makes a communication between the two softwares, and it will get the response and it will give to the end user. So that is the application programming interface, API. So similarly, we have to talk with the different softwares. So we have a different methods. One is called we have a different HTTP methods. Get to get the information like this. So I want to travel from one destination to another destination, and it's a get. And similarly, we have a post. If you want to create anything, we have a post. And if you want to update anything, we have a put. If you want to delete anything, we have a delete. So these 4 HTTP requests we use widely when you're testing any API. Okay, so out of these, so as part of this session, we will discuss about the get and a post. Let's say in a get request, right? So in a general terminology, say if you want to communicate with the other person, right? When you want to communicate with the other person, so we have different formalities. That person should that person. That's the first thing. Or you may have reference with the other mutual friend. In that way, you can communicate. So similarly, so let's assume the same scenario when you apply the same scenario here, when you trying to talk from Make My Trip to Air India, when you try to talk from Make My Trip to Indigo or some or X, Y, Z providers, we need one authentication token. And we need, like, when you talking to some other person, right? So let's say I'm talking in English to some other person. That person should know what language I'm talking. So if that person, he doesn't know about the English, so how you will communicate? You don't communicate, right? That is the reason we have HTTP headers. So while sending these APIs, right? While sending the request, while sending the GET request, we have one more concept called headers. Header request, we call it as request headers. In the request headers, we will mention what is the authorization token. Let's in the real general scenarios, if you want to talk to an other person, you should know that person. Either you have some other reference, based on that you can talk to that person, right? So otherwise, if you are talking to a stranger, so what we will say, you don't know. Sorry, I don't know you, right? So that's unauthorized. So when you're talking to some other person, you should be very authorized. Either you should know that person or it may be some other reference. So then only you can make a communication. Similarly, Make My Trip wants to communicate to Air India, or similarly Make My Trip wants to communicate to Indigo or X or Y, Z. We need to send one header request. In the request headers, they should send the authorization token. Authorization token. So based on this token, okay, the Air India thinks, okay, this guy is a trusted resource, and whatever the request it requests, right? Visakhapatnam to Secunderabad, then it will evaluate and it will send the response. Similarly, Indigo or also say it will send the response. That is the reason request header. And after that, we have one more header that is called content type. Content type. So which how you are making what is a content type. So let's say application/JSON. So they will so they are expecting the application content type. So application/JSON. So they want the JSON response. JSON is a JavaScript object notation. This is different concept, but basically we will use most of the times we will use authorization token, and apart from that content type. So basically, if any request want to communicate with other software or other software, we need one is the endpoint. So this is the endpoint, http/indigo/u. Then we will send the response from query VSKP to Secunderabad, like that. Let's assume this is the request. Apart from that request, we will send this authorization token and we will send this content type. So in that way, it will give the response, right? The API is application programming interface. So API sits between the two softwares that one software may develop in another language, one software may develop in another language, but API will communicate between two softwares, and it will one software sends a request through API and other one will send the response through API. That is the use of the API. So if you go to, we have market, we have a readily available tool that is a Postman. There is an open source tool. So if you see here, request.in API/users, right? We will discuss about all these things. So first one, this is the all HTTP methods: get, post, put, patch, delete, and you can concentrate on these five. Out of these five are the important. Okay, first we will discuss about the get. So this is called an endpoint. So this is the endpoint. Request starting, this is the endpoint. So here we have a resource called users is our resource. So from the users, you will get you have the list of the users. Let's say if I want all users, if I send the request, so this will talk to through this endpoint, it will talk to the users resource and it will send this response. See how many pages we have. Page 1, and per page we have 6 users, and total pages are 12, and total we have a 12, and total pages 2, and this is the response. If you want to get only one user 2 details, if you put /2, you will get the second user. Okay. Similarly, if you want to create, so I have one third party application. So this will support us to practice different type of APIs, like different type of methods: get, put, post, and delete, patch. So we have a this third party application. Yeah, we have one third party application. So from this, you will get the different HTTP methods and similarly body and the resources, right? If I take this payload, I'll go to the Postman. So if I want to create post, and this is called a body. So in this body, we are sending a raw, which in body we are sending in a JSON format. That is the reason you can select the here JSON. If you are passing, if you are sending the body as a text, you can put the text. Similarly, if you are passing as a XML, you can select the XML. But currently, I have selected raw, and I am selecting option called JSON. So I am sending in terms of my data. I'm sending in a format of JSON. So in this post request, the post request, post is nothing but if you want to create any user, or if you want to create anything into your system, we need to use the HTTP method called post. In this post, we need to, if you want to create anything, you need to send the input. So how you will send the input through API? We have a tab called body. So in this body, you have an n number of options. You can send a form data like nothing but an Excel sheet, or you can send the raw data. And the raw data, we have different options to send the raw data: text, JavaScript, JSON, HTML, XML. But now I want to send my raw data in terms of JSON. So that is the reason I have selected JSON. And in the JSON, it's a key and it's a value. I want to create a name and this, and the job name is job, and title is this. So if I create, right? If I create, so what is the status code? So when you create something, we have a different status codes. One is if it is created successful, you will get 201, the status code of 201, and this is the created. And similarly, we need to validate the response every time. So what is a response? So name you passed here as part of the request, and name created and job created. Similarly, we got response ID and when it is created. So this software is written like this. So when you create a username, obviously, when you create a username, when you create a student or anything, when you create, we have unique identifier, that is the ID. And similarly, they are sending when it is created. This is called a response, and this is called a status code. Somehow, when you send the wrong body, something like this, if you send it, even though it is created. So since it's open source software tools, they don't have these validations. So now in this case, we will get the bad request. Okay, so we have a different status code like bad request or unauthorized access. So if you are not authorized to access this resource, we will get 401 unauthorized. And somehow if the server is not exist, we will get 500 internal server errors. Like that, we have a different status codes. So those status codes we will see in a different class, different session. Okay, so as of now, we have seen what is the API. API stands for Application Programming Interface. So API uses, like if you want to communicate, two softwares want to communicate each other, we are going to have the API. So this software may develop in this language, and these are the vendors, these are the providers, they develop in different languages, but API can communicate between these two, and that will give you a response. Like we have different HTTP methods, get, post, put, and delete. And through this get, we will send the, we will hit that endpoint and we will get the response. So before hitting any endpoint, we have a request headers, like whether he is known person or in which language he is sending the request. So that is the reason we have authorization token and content type. So these we will send as part of the request headers. And you may ask, so why you are not sending this as part of this, right? So get does not require a body. So even though if you provide, it won't consider. Okay. So get, why you are not sending the headers. So since it's open source, here they are not going to validate any authorization. This, since it's a practice purpose, general practice scenarios, it doesn't require any header. But in your testing, when you are working a real project, you need to mention the authorization token. So you need to mention your token, and similarly, and you need to mention content type. Content type, application/JSON, application/JSON. So this is all about get, and this is all about post. And similarly, if you want to delete a record, so you can select the delete, and which user you want to delete, you can pass, okay, I want to delete one. If you put one, and you can hit this, and you will get the response, 204 no content. This is the status code. When you delete anything, you will get the status code 204 no content. And after that, real scenarios, again we will delete it. We should get 404 not found. But somehow we don't have such kind of validations here. That is the reason. So now when you try to delete this user one, so we are getting 204 no content. But in ideal scenarios, initially we will delete and we will get the status code. And after that, again, we want to ensure that, so this record should not exist in our server. That is the reason, again, we will hit it. At that time, we should get 404 not found, because we are already deleted. We should not get that record. That is the reason we will get 404. But somehow here we don't have such kind of validations. That is the reason you are getting the 204 no content only. So this is, as of now, we discuss get, post, and delete. And similarly, put, if you want to update anything like username, like username in the body, we are sending a job. If you want to update this job, you can use a put operation. You can modify this, for this ID, you can modify the leader. For put operation, we have to use the body. And we will discuss the put operation and other operations in the next session. That is all about this. Thank you.